Hi, my name is Ozzie and I'm with Rise Up Coffee and I'm their Operations and Facilities Director. Today we're going to talk about general maintenance on our equipment to make sure that it's running and operating to the best of its ability. First, we're going to talk about the Bunn bulk grinder. This grinder is going to be the grinder that you use in your cafe on a regular basis to grind your bulk coffee for your customers. This grinder has very little of maintenance that needs to be done to it, but it does on a weekly basis need to be cleaned. The Bunn bulk grinder is very easy to clean and should be cleaned out once a week. To clean it, you can just take a rag with soapy water, clean out all the beans, and then take and rinse out the whole enclosure. If you have anything stuck inside, you can take and use a wet vac to suck out anything that might be stuck on the inside. In the situation that you might find that the grinder is not working, make sure that you clear the grinder of any obstructions. So make sure you unplug the grinder, open the lid, remove any coffee beans that might be stuck inside, and take a look inside. If you see that there's an obstruction, you can use a wet vac to try to suck it out of there. If it doesn't come out, you can reach out to me and I'll make sure to come out and take care of any issues you might have. Another situation you might run into is that the coffee grinds are either too coarse or too fine when you're grinding at a preset setting. If you find that that happens, we can take the grinder and do a quick calibration to get it straight. If you find that the grind is too fine or too coarse, there's an easy way to make an adjustment. If you find that the grinds are too coarse, you will loosen the screws, pull the knob, and turn the knob to the right about 1/4 inch. Then you can tighten the screws back up and regrind. From there, you can make slight modifications to adjust to make sure that it's at the proper grind. All right, next we're going to talk about our espresso grinders. We have one main brand that we use, which is Moser. We do have one or two Malkonig grinders around our shops, but the majority of our grinders are going to be our Moser grinders. So we're going to talk about cleaning and maintenance of these grinders. First, on a weekly basis, we should be removing the hopper and cleaning it out thoroughly. One thing you want to make sure to do is to turn off the power to the grinder. The hopper has a little locking mechanism that will help keep the beans inside while you unscrew the back bracket, which will allow the whole hopper to come loose. Once you remove the hopper, you can take the lid off and wash it with soapy water. The more oils that get trapped inside here, the harder it will be for the beans to flow down and get you a proper dose. So making sure that your hoppers are clean and oil-free are the best and easiest way to make sure that that works the best. Once you remove the hopper, you want to make sure that you clean the inside where the blades are. So you want to make sure you take your brush and clean out all your burrs properly and get any buildup that might have built up around the burrs. Once you've used the brush, you can use your wet vac to clean out any debris that's inside. Once you've cleaned the inside where your hopper sits, you want to clean the inside right underneath your keypad. All your keypads will either twist open or will pop off. Once you've opened it up, you'll be able to see inside and see your chute all the way in. Once you've cleaned the inside, you want to take a pipe cleaner and make sure you get the inside of your chute to make sure that there's no buildup inside there. That will be one of your main problems if you're not dosing properly. If you have oils built up on the chute, the coffee cannot come out properly. Once you've cleaned out the chute and you've cleaned out the inside underneath, you can turn your screen back or reinsert it, and then put your hopper back in place and tighten it back. Here we have our Vitamix. You guys are going to be using this Vitamix to make smoothies, and is one of the most used items other than your espresso machine that you'll constantly be pulling out and using over and over and over again. So it's very important that these get cleaned out properly each time so you don't cross-contaminate between different flavors, but then also making sure that you sit the pitcher on top of the socket properly each time and not just set it and let it go. Because as soon as you do that, you set it and it doesn't sit properly, it will strip out the sprocket and will not work properly. If you need to change your blade assembly, we'll show you how. Okay, so we're going to put together the Vitamix pitcher with a brand new blade assembly. Now it's very important to make sure that the blade assembly sits all the way down into the pitcher, or it'll strip out the socket. So you insert, there's actually a flat section on the side of the blade assembly, and there's two flat points on the Vitamix pitcher. You want to make sure that you slide it and make sure it goes all the way in, sits flat. Then you attach your bottom piece, which is the nut that holds it in place. Twist it, making sure that you keep pressure on it so it stays flat. Once it's tightened, you'll use the special Vitamix wrench to tighten it up. If you find that your blade is okay, but your socket needs to be changed out, we'll go through the changing process. First, you'll remove the centering pad. Then you'll locate the hole in the front of the blender where the socket is located. Once you've found the hole, you'll take the Allen wrench that comes with the new socket. You will line up the silver screw with the hole and insert the Allen wrench. You will loosen the Allen and then pull up the old sprocket. You'll take the new socket, put it in place, and push it down. You'll spin it until you see the screw back in the center hole. Once it's there, you will insert the Allen wrench, make sure that the socket is firmly in place, and turn to tighten. Once the socket is back in place, you can reinstall your centering pad and then ensure that the pitcher sits properly on top. This is the Bunn MHG Grinder. This is going to be the grinder that you use to grind all of the coffee that you'll be brewing your large batch coffees with. The Bunn grinder has a couple things that we need to make sure that we do on a regular basis. One, every night we need to ensure that we pull the hoppers out and ensure that the trays and the pathway for the hopper is completely clean. You can take a rag and clean out any debris that's in here. You can also use a wet vac if there's a lot of coffee grounds or coffee beans. You can use a wet vac to clear out anything left. If you find upon reinstalling that the hopper does not sit back all the way, remove the hopper and ensure that there are no more obstacles in the way. On a weekly basis, you should remove the beans from your hoppers, take out this piece, and clean these out with soap and water once a week. This will remove the old oils and make sure that you have fresh coffee in the bins every time. This is going to be your main coffee brewer. It is our Bunn TF. Now you will probably have different versions of this brewer at your shops. You will most likely have a dual brewer that allows you to brew 2 batches at once. But for now, we're going to just talk about this single because it's the same identical thing. First, on a daily basis, you should be removing the spray head. Your shops are going to be equipped either with a metal spray head or a plastic spray head. The spray heads are all built the same and will come apart the same. You pull apart this rubber gasket, which will then allow the pieces to separate. These can be washed with soap and water or a little bit of Kafiza to make sure that there's no debris blocking any of the holes. Once it's been washed and everything clear, you'll match up your spray head pieces and then reattach the rubber piece that held them together. Once you've removed the spray head and cleaned it, and you've cleaned all this area underneath here, you want to turn off the brewer. There's a switch just underneath. You want to turn off the brewer, take a rag, and clean off the front surfaces of the brewer. Ensure that there's no residue and nothing stuck on the front side of the brewer. This will make sure that you have a clean brewing machine each time you go to brew. Once you remove the spray head, you will be left with an area underneath that will be filled with coffee debris. You're going to take a rag with a little bit of soapy water and just go around, clean up any debris that might be underneath here. You're going to clean this whole area and make sure that it's all clean of any coffee debris. Once it's all clean of any coffee debris, you reattach your spray head and you're ready to brew. If you're brewing and you notice that you have slow flow or you're underpotting, there is most likely a flow restriction either in your filters or in the machine. The first thing I would do is check your filters, make sure that they've been changed out recently. If they have not, change them and see if it changes your flow. If that doesn't fix it, there is a flow restriction in the brewer. At that point, reach out to me and I'll come out and take care of the problem. This is your espresso machine. It is a La Marzocco Linea PB. This is going to be the main machine that you're going to use throughout your day. So that being said, we need to make sure that we clean it properly every single day so that it performs to its peak. So a couple things. One is going to be the actual cleaning process at the end of the night. So to do that, we're going to start off by pulling out the portafilter and hitting your continuous run button. This is going to allow the water to flow through freely while you use your espresso brush and clean out the diffuser and around your gaskets. Next, you're going to take your portafilter and your stubby flat blade screwdriver, which is in your toolkit, slide it inside and pop it loose. We're going to remove the portafilter basket and insert the blind portafilter basket. Next, we're going to add half a scoop of Kafiza and reinstall the portafilter. Now we're going to run the portafilter with the blind basket and Confiza for 10 seconds at a time, and we will do that 10 times. So, first one. And we'll do it again. Repeat this process 10 times per group head. Once you've done it 10 times, you will remove your portafilter basket, dump the detergent, and hit the continuous run button. At that point, you will take your brush and you'll run it back through and clean the screen. Run it for about 15 seconds and turn it off. Once you've cleaned the screen, you will remove the center screw so you can get the diffuser screen out to clean properly. Be careful because it will be hot. Now, once you've done that, you're going to rinse out the blind portafilter of detergent, and you're going to reinsert the blind portafilter into the group head. Then run the continuous button for 10 seconds on, 10 seconds off for another 10 seconds to clean out any detergent that's still left in the machine. Once you've run that through 10 times, you will pull out the portafilter and run the continuous water for another 10 seconds and let that water flow through. Now you can replace your diffuser screen and your screw. To reinstall the screen, you set it right in the middle and you place the screw right in the center and turn it back into place. Do not over tighten the screw. Another important thing to get clean on your machine is going to be your steam wands. Your steam wands are used over and over and over again, and we need to make sure that we get any of the dried milk off of your steam wands. One of the first things we want to do when we're cleaning the machine is to make sure that we soak the steam wands in a little bit of water and Confiza. So you'll take a cup, your dosing cups that you have in your shop, you'll go about 3/4 of the way up with water and about half a spoonful of Confiza in each cup. Then you'll take your steam wands, place them inside, and let them sit while you soak. One of the things that we need to make sure we do is to get underneath your rubber gaskets here. So when you're cleaning it, you'll take and you'll push the gasket up, and you'll make sure to clean up underneath these areas to make sure there's no buildup of milk. And then once it's all clean, you can push it all back down. Once you've finished your back flush, you'll pull out the steam wand, give it a good wipe down, and then let out some steam to make sure that you get anything that was inside out. Once you've back flushed the machine and you've cleaned your steam wands, you want to make sure that you pull out your drip trays and make sure that you have no coffee grounds in this drip tray. and that you can get out any coffee grounds that are inside your main drip tray inside your machine. This is your ice machine. Every location is equipped with a Manitowoc ice machine. So we'll go through the quick cleaning process that should be done once every 2 weeks to make sure that we have good tasting and clean ice. So first, you'll remove 2 Phillips head screws that are on the top and the bottom. And you'll just have to loosen them. You don't have to take them completely out to get the machine open. Once they're loose, it'll open up. Once it's open, we want to make sure that the machine is in the off position. So all we have to do is hit the power button if it's making ice, and it'll turn over to the off. Once the machine is open, you're going to remove your ice shield. The ice shield can be removed by pressing this tab slightly out and pushing the shield inward. Once you have this piece out, you will take and wash it with soap and water. Once you've cleaned off that shield, you'll remove your ice gauge, which is just pinching these 2 sides in, pulling it off, and setting it up top. Once you've removed that piece, you can remove these 4 screws. Once you remove this part, you will take a rag with soapy water and go over it and clean it up and get any debris that might be built up off. Okay. With the same rag with soapy water, you'll go over this part and make sure that there's no buildup. Once it's clean, you can attach this piece back on. Next, you will remove this tray, which is where the water that is recirculated through is sitting inside. So you pull these tabs to the side, and the whole tray will come out. Take this tray, wash it out with soapy water, and replace. This piece will slide in just underneath. Once you've cleaned off the tray, you can take your rag with soapy water and just do a once over on all of the system, just to make sure there's no buildup or anything left on the machine. Once the machine is cleaned up, you can reattach your depth probe, your ice depth probe. Squeezes, goes back in place. And your ice shield, left hole goes in first, pull to the side, right goes in after. Once that shield is back in place, you can push your power button again, and it'll begin to make ice. All right, now we're going to talk about the Bunn Nitron. The Bunn Nitron is basically the machine that produces our cold brew and nitro. This machine works great if we make sure that we clean it nightly and weekly. So let's go through a couple of the items that we need to make sure that we clean on a nightly basis. First, we need to make sure that we flush the system. So we'll take and open the door, and we'll remove the cold brew concentrate. Next, we'll take a concentrate container that has warm water and we'll replace it. Then we will dispense until the water runs clear. Once the water runs clear, you have thoroughly cleaned the system. At that point, you can remove the concentrate container and wipe down any areas that might have any concentrate residue. Next, you will repeat for the other side. Next, you're going to remove the nozzles. You're going to turn the nozzle a quarter turn clockwise, then pull down and remove the nozzle. Once you remove the nozzle, you will remove the middle piece and clean it and make sure that all the holes that are inside are completely clean. Once you've cleaned out the middle piece, you will take the provided pipe cleaner and run it inside this plastic piece. You'll also take the pipe cleaner and run it inside in a circular motion just to clean out any gunk that might be stuck inside. Once you've cleaned that out, you'll replace the middle piece, insert it sideways, and turn it a quarter turn counterclockwise to the middle position. Once you've cleaned the nitro side, you'll clean the cold brew side and repeat the same thing. You will turn a quarter turn clockwise and pull down. This one will not have the middle piece. You will take the pipe cleaner and repeat. Clean on the inside, clean on the inside. Once it's all clean, you will reinsert and turn a quarter turn counterclockwise. On a weekly basis, we need to make sure that we grease the O-rings on all of these fittings. So, what we'll do is remove the nozzle as we do for cleaning. Then we will take and put a pea-sized drop around the O-rings. Repeat for the other side. One of the last things we need to make sure that we do on a weekly basis is clean the air filter that's on the back of the Nitron. In the back, about a quarter of the way up, you will feel the square filter that you can just pull up. And all you need to do is take this filter and run it under some warm water. Ensure that there's no dust left on the filter. And then reinstall.